Okay, February 25th, 2:21 p.m., District Court, courtroom number 9. Oh, it's time to finish this up. We gotta do this now. Now then, will the defendant, Miss Lana Sky, please take the stand? Miss Lana Sky, you are the chief prosecutor. I'm sure you're aware of what is required of you. But, Mr. Edgeworth, you already know everything. You know all that I've done these past 2 years. Please provide the court with your testimony, Miss Sky, and remember, you are under oath. We want to hear the truth. Of course, the truth. Lana, no matter what happens, I'll always be your sister. Now then, your testimony, if you will. First, tell us about your relationship with Gon. Everything hinges on your testimony. You're the only chance we have to get Gon. Gaunt and the fabrication. I worked alongside Gaunt for years. There's no truth to this blackmail theory. I fabricated the evidence 2 years ago all by myself. When I found Prosecutor Marshall's body, I rearranged the crime scene. My only motivation was to get Dark convicted. It had nothing to do with Emma. Huh. Are you sure about this testimony? Your Honor, I'm confessing to a capital offense. Of course I'm sure. But, Lana, if this is true, then that means Chief Gaunt has nothing to do with this. That's what I've been telling you from the beginning. Please, Mr. Wright, you've got to help her. She's sacrificing herself because of me. But what if she's telling the truth? She's not. I know my own sister. Whenever she speaks stiffly like that, she's hiding something inside. Deep down, she's really screaming in agony. Yeah, this is no time to start second-guessing myself. The defense now begin its cross-examination. Alright, let's do this. Me and you, Edgeworth. We got this. Edgy-poo. Got and the fabrication. Let's see. Find any contradictions. Okay, so worked alongside Gaunt for years, obviously. Truth of blackmail theory. I fabricated 2 years all by myself. When I found Prosecutor Marshall's body, I rearranged the crime scene. So you're saying you rearranged the crime scene, and she's probably gonna say that she rearranged it, and obviously she was the one who arranged it because she was the first one there. How did you know exactly that it was Emma that tackled him? Like, did you see her tackle him? You say you did this all by yourself. Yes. Would you mind telling us what you found when you arrived at the crime scene? Yeah, that's what I want to know. Like, what exactly did you see? It seems I was the first person to discover the crime scene. The broken prosecutor award knife was stuck in the victim's body. What? But Prosecutor Marshall died from an unfortunate accident. That's only a situation you dreamed was possible. The reality is, it wasn't my sister who took the prosecutor's life. Fantasize all you want, Mr. Wright, but I'll never change the statement. You mean, Prosecutor Marshall wound up being killed by Dark? Something like that. If that is so, what happened to the other murder weapon? Dark was carrying a switchblade knife. Oh, that was lying on the floor a little distance away. It was probably knocked away in the struggle. That's not how it went down. She's trying to cover up her lies with more lies. All just to protect me. So, when you found the scene like this, what did you do? After all, this is what everything boils down to. Yes. Broke off the tip of Dark's knife, planted it inside the wound, and moved the body. Huh. Why did you move the body? I'm thinking about that. Why in general did you move the body? You could have just testified against... You could have just blamed Dark for it. Okay, so she broke off the tip of Dark's knife, planted it inside the wound. Then you moved the body. Like, you could have just put the knife there. Yeah, you could have just planted the knife in. Why did you move the body? I'm gonna press on that. You planted the tip of Dark's knife in the victim's wound, then you moved the body. But why? Why would you do that? You of all people should know, Edgeworth. You've always had a good head on your shoulders. My head isn't that bad, but I thought maybe I ought to ask this for the sake of others. Why did you move the body? Yeah, that's what I want to know. When you showed up on the scene, where exactly was the victim's body? It was where you deduced it was, by Chief Gaunt's desk. But the body was found by your desk. Why did you move it there? The reason for that is simple. Let's have the witness explain this in more detail. The reason Miss Sky moved the body. The pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan. My only motivation was to get Dark convicted. It had nothing to do with them. Wait, the pieces of the jar... But... Wait, let me look at this. So, she said the jar was shattered. But wouldn't it have been hard to write that with the shattered jar? And also, why did he even write the name? Was the jar even shattered at that time yet? Yeah, it could have only been written. Like, Marshall wrote Emma's name on it too. Miss Sky, I understand how you feel. You committed that crime 2 years ago to protect your sister. You mean the forgery at the scene where Neil Marshall was murdered. If that is true, were you two, if that truth were to be exposed now, the past 2 years of your life will have been useless. Even so, I am compelled to bring everyone's attention. A significant contradiction within your testimony. Contradiction? In my testimony? You testified, and I quote, "The pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan." That's right. Do you have a problem with that? It's simple oversight, really. You see, a message was written on this jar with the victim's blood. Yes, the prosecutor must have written it in his final moments. Exactly so. And this is where the contradiction lies. In order for the victim to be able to write his message on the jar, it must not yet have been broken before he died. Ah. He couldn't have written Emma's name on the shattered jar. Get a drink of water because I'm messing up too many lines. Okay, order. Your Honor, it would appear more information is needed in regards to this jar and its bloody message. We may be missing something critical here. Something critical? Chief Prosecutor, it seems you're as in the dark as we are about the truth towards which we're headed. What? Just tell us exactly what you saw. We'll piece together the information to arrive at the truth. Very well. The witness may now continue her testimony. Alright. Gotta find more contradictions. Jar and message in blood. Witness testimony. I immediately noticed the blood traces on the jar, but it was in the dark of the room and I didn't have time to check it out. To be safe, I wiped away the blood. The fragments were large, so I'm sure I got them all. But you didn't get them all. Yeah, because the one piece you didn't wipe off was the one Gaunt had, which connects them to this. All I could think about was wiping them clean before they were discovered. You mean, you were the one who wiped away this message in blood? I wasn't the chief prosecutor at the time. She didn't think Dark was the real murderer. That's why she tried to erase the real evidence. Very well, the defense may now begin its cross-examination. Interesting. But, yeah, on that statement in there. To be safe, I wiped away all the blood. The fragments are large, so I'm sure I got them all, but you didn't get them all. Because, I wish I had the separate fragment from Gaunt's desk, but this can connect Gaunt to this. Because he hid the evidence in his locker. And she doesn't know this, I don't think. Miss Sky, I believe the jar conceals the truth even you were unaware of. Yeah, she doesn't know this then. What? We found the final piece of the jar in Chief Gaunt's safe. In Chief Gaunt's safe? But how? I knew it. She really didn't know. There's something even more disturbing about that final piece. There was still blood on it. But the witness just testified that she gathered every last piece and wiped the blood off them. Yes, which leaves us with only one explanation. On the night Prosecutor Marshall was murdered, you were not the first one to show up on the scene. Chief Gaunt got there before you. And he stole that piece to keep dirt on her, didn't he? And hid it. But couldn't the defendant have simply missed a piece? I'm afraid that's unlikely. The pieces are too big for anyone to miss, let alone an ace detective. That may well be, but everyone makes mistakes. Even I once missed an entire day, looking for my dentures. They were in my mouth all along. Huh, can you believe that? Have you forgotten, Your Honor? When this witness arrived at the scene, the jar was already broken. Oh, that. There's no way a name could have been written on the shattered jar. Another person discovered the scene prior to the witness. I hope you're not implying that person was Chief Gaunt at the time he was looking for Dark downstairs. Besides, even if he was there first, why would he break the jar? The question is, if he did arrive there first, why did he hide the fact for 2 years? Well, Your Honor, can you answer us that? No. Probably not. Wait, I'm not the one on trial here. Damon Gaunt arrived at the crime scene prior to the witness. You proceeded to break the jar. You purposefully hid one of the broken pieces. Question: what is this action called? Fabrication. But why would Chief Gaunt do that? In light of what happened afterward, isn't it clear what happened afterwards? Discovering the scene, Lana Skye believed her sister Emma killed the victim. Determined to help her sister, she sought Gaunt's aid. Lending her his aid, Gaunt helped her create evidence that incriminated Dark, sparing Emma. And here's the reason. The reason why Miss Skye became the Chief's puppet. Oh, did she just bite her finger that hard? No, I did it on my own. Please, sis, stop trying to protect the Chief. I can't watch you suffer anymore for my sake. No, you didn't. It wasn't you, Emma. You didn't kill anyone. I don't believe anything Mr. Wright says. Defense attorneys make up the most foul lies to defend their clients. Foul lies? Imagine that coming from my own client. Huh. I guess you do seem like the type who likes to twist the truth. Wow, really, Judge? Wait a minute. What if we're still smack dab in the middle of Gaunt's trap? Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? Lana, maybe right after all. What do you mean, right? So you did so you do tell foul lies then, Mr. Wright? This guy, I'm a dirty liar, punish me. Please testify once more. But if evidence was fabricated behind your back, then Emma's accidental killing of Prosecutor Marshall might also be a lie. But I do remember knocking over Mr. Marshall. Miss Skye, if you will. I can't. There's nothing to be afraid of anymore. This cross-examination may not change a thing. However, there is a possibility that it will, if you tell the truth. Very well. I'll testify about what I really saw. Alright, the witness may testify once more for the final time. Actual crime scene, witness testimony. Oh boy. When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body impaled on that suit of armor sword. Emma and Dark were lying unconscious on the floor nearby. When I saw what had happened, I thought she did it. That's why I erased all the evidence that linked her to the murder. I had Chief Gaunt help me remove the body from the sword and carry it, but if it all really was fabrication, Emma might be innocent. Unbelievable. The body was impaled on the armor sword. You were the only one who saw that. If only you had proof. Actually, I do have proof. I gave it to Mr. Wright just this morning. What? To me? The book? Oh, the picture. It's a picture I took of the crime scene as I encountered it. I thought it might be needed. But I don't remember receiving a picture like that. Lana must have known. See, Mr. Wright, she really does have faith in you. Very well, Mr. Wright. Please present this picture. I don't remember receiving any pictures from Lana. Lana said she gave it to you this morning, right? I seem to remember getting something from her then. Let's check the evidence again. There must be a picture in there somewhere. Not the... yes, present my badge. Then it was this? Well, let me look around here. Check. Oh wait, I can examine this now? What is that? Because this is the only thing she gave me this morning. Oh, I can open it. Oh, she stuck a picture in there. Hey, there's a picture in here. Oh my. This is the actual crime scene. No other detective saw the crime scene like this. That's because I contacted the criminal affairs only after I rearranged the scene. Lana's picture is inserted into the court record. Oh, well, she took a picture of it too. Well, that's... Mr. Wright. The piece cut out from his vest. Could that be... That's the handprint. The piece cut out from his vest. Could that be... The cloth we found inside Chief Khan's safe. With Lana's... or Emma's fingerprint on it. What's this? It's a handprint. That cloth had fingerprints on it. Whoever fingerprints those are must be the real murderer. What? But those are fingerprints. Those are yours. They're yours, Emma. Why are your lips turning all purple, Mr. Wright? Anyway, let's get on with the cross-examination. So long as you tell the truth, we should be able to flush out the real murderer. Very well. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. Actual crime scene, cross-examination. When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body impaled on that suit. What? Wait, why are you back? I thought you were at lunch. Come now, Edgey. This is the poorest excuse for a trial I've ever seen. Chief Khan. What? Now you want to make me out as the bad guy too? If so, I'd like to put you in a word or two in my defense. I'm afraid it's too late for that. What? You already declined testimony. That means you forfeited your right to make statements of any sort. This must be the risk the judge was talking about. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy the sound of noose tightening around your own neck. Haha. God, he's got like a lightning power or something. So what? You think I'm worried? Sorry to disappoint you, but I don't need to make any statements. What do you mean? The evidence will do all the talking for me. Even if I can't testify, I can still present evidence. Yes, that's true. Wait, you mean you still have some conclusive evidence? No, I don't, but someone does. Someone? So then, what's your excuse, right though? Why have you been keeping quiet about it? Do you have something to show us, right? Something that proves who knocked over Neil Marshall, causing his death. Conclusive evidence that leaves no room for doubt. Is this true, Mr. Wright? If I show that piece of evidence now, Emma's sure to be made out as a murderer. Mr. Wright, if you can have any more evidence, please present it now. And if you try to conceal anything, you will be the one appearing before the Board of Inquiries. What do I do now? I'd better think this through carefully. I can't afford to make the wrong decision. Should I present that piece of evidence? The one that shows who really killed Prosecutor Marshall? Okay, if I show this... Uh, if I show the cloth, that's gonna just play into his hands, though. But if I don't show it, I might get a game over. Because that would just be like, well, you're hiding evidence. Oh, that's really tough. It's basically 50-50. Do I want to show it or do I not want to show it? Well, I want to keep Emma out of this, and it's gonna be too easy to prove she did the murder. Or committed the murder on Marshall if I present it. I'm gonna go with cannot show. Oh, this is really risky. Please. Please don't be the wrong option. Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. What? You lie. Chief Gaunt. You opened my safe. I know what you took. You took what was inside. The conclusive evidence. I don't know what you're talking about. Mr. Wright, why don't you show them? We found it together. Oh, I see. It's because you know the truth, don't you? You know whose fingerprints are on it. That's why you won't present it. What are you talking about, Chief Gaunt? Can't you figure it out? Take a good look at this picture. See the victim's vest? Notice anything odd about the chest area? It looks like part of it's been cut off for some reason. You mean you hid this in your safe? What? That means you, the chief of police, concealing evidence? This is going to be the biggest scandal in the history of the police department. Impressive. To be honest, I didn't think you had the gall, Righto. Well, I can't just let you pin me up as the murderer. I'll tell you what really happened. What, you mean, you admit to it? I was the first person to arrive at the crime scene that day. It then occurred to me that I could use the situation to control Lana. So you really were manipulating her. I knew Lana. If I made it look like the blame lay with her sister, that when she saw the scene, she would ask me for my aid. So you assisted Miss Skye. I told her to arrange all the evidence. I had her plant the knife tip in the victim's body and move the body across the room. And I ended up using that evidence to get Joe Dark convicted. When we rearranged the crime scene, I hid 2 pieces of evidence. I did this before Lana arrived at the scene. 2 pieces of evidence? You mean those 2 items in your safe? But why? For insurance. Of course. Insurance. I was sure my plan would work, but it's always best to be prepared for the worst. I wasn't about to let anyone blame me for the murder that girl committed. You mean you were calculating that far ahead while forging the evidence? Who do you take me for? A fool? I didn't make police cheap by dumb luck. See this jar fragment? I hid the most legible part of Emma's name. I didn't expect Lana to go and wipe the blood off, all the pieces. But if you fabricated all the evidence, what's to say you didn't fabricate the message on this jar too? Oh. Some people just don't know when to quit, do they? That's why I kept 1 more item for insurance. You mean that piece of cloth? Come on, Righto, cough it up already. I know you have it. What are you waiting for, Mr. Wright? So you admit to it then, Chief Gaunt, that you were hiding the cloth that cut off the victim's vest in your safe. Yes, I admit it. I don't want to have to do that. I didn't want to have to do that being chief and all, but it's a lot better than being portrayed as a murderer. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say for yourself? Just a moment ago, you said you didn't have any evidence you could present. Foolish move, Righto. You should have shown it then before it was too late. It's been a long battle. But the moment of truth has finally arrived. I gotta pull through this somehow. As long as I don't mess up here, victory is mine. Oh god. If I choose cannot show evidence again, do I make it through? Or, no, but they know I'm hiding it now. Let me get a drink of water before I choose. Okay. You know what? Let's show... I don't know if... But they know I have it. I have to show evidence. Your Honor, I do have evidence to present now. Alright then, let's see this conclusive evidence. The evidence that shows who actually murdered Prosecutor Marshall. I mean, this is the only thing I can. Okay, let's make sure this is safe. So we have the picture. Check. Okay, there's blood everywhere on him. He coughed out blood, it looks like. Why is there... Is there? But there's no blood on this. There's fingerprints on this, but there's no blood on this. Oh, well, I have to present this strip of cloth anyway. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest. Oh, yes. At last you finally brought it out into the open. There's a handprint on this piece of cloth. Your Honor, the prosecution requested that it be immediately sent to the lab for analysis. This handprint on the leather. There must have been a strong impact for it to be left so clearly. You mean... It could not have been forged. It must be authentic, conclusive evidence. Ho ho ho. You're as slow on the uptake as ever, Worthy. What? To think about it, Wright had this all the time to present this evidence. Yet he was reluctant to do so. Why would that be? You mean you already know? You know whose fingerprints are on that. Mr. Wright, do you really know? Whoever the fingerprints belong to must be the real murderer. Whose fingerprints are they? Your Honor, they're Meekin's fingerprints. He was there that day. He killed him. Very well, I'll tell you. It should be okay now. Everything's proceeding as predicted. Is it really okay, though? The person whom these fingerprints belong to are... Officer Meekin's. How could you? You monster. No, they were Emma's. This is really, really risky. I really don't know if I'm gonna make it through this. Emma? Emma Skye? What? They're mine? I'm sorry, Emma. But why? Why didn't you tell me? Ho 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 ho! You're really something, Righto. You know this girl did it all along. And you still tried to pin the murder on me. So it's true. Tragic, but true. This girl really did shove Prosecutor Marshall to his death. How could you? You monster. Miss Skye, you knew whose fingerprints those were all along, yet you acted like she really didn't. Miss Skye, I'm not over yet. What? I said this trial isn't over yet. Huh, but I'm afraid it is over, boy. Not only this trial, but your career too. You purposely concealed this conclusive evidence. That, my friend, is a serious offense. I'm looking forward to pressing charges after the defendant is convicted. I'll have your badge, boy. Not the badge. Anything but the badge! What's the matter? Got your tongue? Aren't you going to tell us how it feels? How it feels to be the one who single-handedly turned a poor little girl into a murderer? Before I do that, there's just one little thing I have to clear up. Oh, and what's that? Who really killed Prosecutor Neil Marshall? Neil Marshall. Yes, Neil Marshall. What? Chief Gaunt, you are absolutely right. You are absolutely right. The piece of cloth proves who the real murderer is. Who killed Neil Marshall, you ask? It was Emma Skye, wasn't it? I'm afraid that's not possible. You see, this piece of cloth contains a critical contradiction. Is it the blood? That there's no blood on it? Because there was blood everywhere on Marshall. What? A contradiction? What is this fool babbling about? I'm talking about a contradiction, one that proves who the real killer is. Mr. Wright, this piece of cloth, what could it possibly contradict? Chief Gaunt, your tyrannical reign ends here. Behold, the piece of evidence that contradicts this cloth. It would be the picture, then, with the blood all over him. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. And what exactly is this supposed to be? This is the picture Miss Sky took. Take a good look at it. See where the piece of his vest was cut out? Yes, his shirt is showing underneath. It's hard to make out with all this blood on his vest, though. Exactly my point. His chest was soaked with blood. That is only natural. His lungs, no doubt, were punctured. Blood poured out of his mouth. Oh, but that piece of cloth. Wait, there's no blood on it. Since Emma Sky's fingerprints are on this cloth, there's no doubt that she shoved Prosecutor aside. However, Mr. Marshall was not impaled on the sword. No, this is nonsense. Now then, Chief Gaunt, let me ask you something. Prosecutor Marshall was not impaled when he was shoved aside. He was most likely hit his head on the ground and was knocked out. If so, then tell me, who could it have been? Who could have arrived at the scene before Miss Sky? Picked up the unconscious prosecutor and impaled him on the arm or sword. Then, to make it look like Emma was responsible for the prosecutor's death, said person proceeded to write her name on the jar with the victim's blood. Then he broke the jar on purpose to leave a clue behind a clue. And make Lana believe her sister did it. Remember what you admitted only moments ago? That you personally cut out this bloodless piece of the victim's vest. Ironic, isn't it? Through the very act of creating insurance, you proved that you were the actual murderer. No! It's finished. Huh. Ha ha ha. Oh ho 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 ho. That was close, Righto. You almost had me. Sorry, but you'll have to do better than that. I refute your allegations. What do you mean you refute his allegation? You see, that piece of cloth is illegal evidence. But if I think back to it, I said I couldn't, not that I did not. Or not that I refused to present it, but I just said I couldn't at that point. Order, what is this? No nonsense is this? The legal evidence cannot be used to convict a suspect. Remember, Edgey? Earlier, old Righto here concealed that piece of cloth. So then, what's your excuse, Righto? You do have some conclusive evidence, don't you? Your Honor? I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. Yeah, at this point in time. He covered his tracks. He covered his tracks. He said at that point in time. But he can do that but he did it later, to connect it to the case. Well, that's true. The defense did refuse to present evidence. At that moment, the piece of cloth ceased to be legal evidence. But that's not fair. Ooh, Did you actually think you could best me in court? It looks like the last laugh's on you, son. I'm afraid Mr. Gunn's claim is legally correct. Well, Mr. Edgeworth? True. Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a person. Assuming, of course, that the evidence is indeed illegal. Huh? Well, Mr. Wright? It seems, at last, the time for me to reveal my plan has finally arrived. Yeah, they keep zooming in on Phoenix like that, it's so awkward. Just like, instant zoom. Mr. Wright, do you admit to it? That you purposefully and legally concealed this piece of a cloth? I did not. Certainly, I refused to present the evidence at one point. Aha, so the evidence is illegal. No, it isn't, Mr. Gaunt. Huh? It's not like I didn't present the evidence then. It's that I couldn't. What do you mean, you couldn't? There are certain procedures involved when presenting evidence. No, Edgey, don't listen to his lies. He's nothing but a coward. You can't let him. There is only one issue left to be resolved in this trial. Is this evidence legal or not? And I proved it when I connected it to the case, but I didn't have it connected to the case before. But I connected it afterward. Very well, let us settle this once and for all, which is the second, if we took the book, it's the second thing. The evidence law. Yeah. Rule number 2, unregistered evidence must be relevant to the case of trial. So I made it relevant first and then presented it. Really, you refused to present the evidence. If you can prove your conduct was not a violation of the law, then do so now. Well, it would have to be the evidence law book, right? Which I just checked. This is my proof, Your Honor. Evidence law. What's this? I've done my homework too, Chief. Indeed, Emma Sky's fingerprints were on this piece of cloth. However, at that point in time, this was merely a piece of cloth, nothing more. What? You see, it's written right here in this book. The second rule of evidence law. Rule number 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. I found this piece of evidence myself, inside your safe. It goes without saying, I did not have approval from the police department. Rule number 2, unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case in trial. And here's the crux of the matter. You see, at the time, it was impossible for me to prove the relevance between the cloth and the SL9 incident. What? What kind of nonsense is this? You want relevancy? Just take one look at this picture and... Sorry, but as you can recall, when was that picture presented? Also, let me get a drink. Oh boy. Sorry, but can you recall when that picture was presented? That was shown only a few moments ago. No. He's right. At the beginning of today's trial, that piece of cloth was still meaningless. The person who gave it value as evidence was you, Damon Gone. You yourself confessed to a certain truth. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest. Oh, yes. No. It was then that you approved this cloth as conclusive evidence. Yes, you, the chief of police, personally approved this cloth. The only person who could have cut this from the victim's vest is the one who stood before the prosecutor marshal in his final moments. In other words, the real murderer. And there's only one person that could it be. Damon Gone. You, the killer was you. Oh dear Lord. Oh dear Lord. Oh God. He's gone insane. We must stop the clapping. I knew I should have gotten rid of him. That good-for-nothing scum. 2 years ago, he's been snooping around the department trying to get something on me. Crimes are being committed every day, yet he insisted on hounding me. Well, your crime wasn't exactly petty. He wanted to reinvestigate the case. He recruited Angel Starr, then he convinced Bruce Goodman. Detective Goodman? Yeah, that's right. The evidence is transferred. If the evidence is transferred, I'll lose my only chance to find out the truth. Please, you've got to help me. Please, you've got to help me. Goodman turned him down, as he ought to. Still, Jake Marshall didn't know when to quit. He stole Goodman's ID card and tried to take the evidence. Goodman came to me that day. He wanted to file a lost item report. I went with him to the evidence room. Then all of a sudden, he had to speak out. What are you talking about, Goodman? Can you please reopen the investigation, Chief? We can't transfer the evidence out. There are too many questions left unanswered. He told me to open up the evidence room and take it out. It's not too late. I'll hand this to Marshall. Well, to be honest, I was a little panicked too. I had a bad feeling about it, but I never knew it would come to this. That's when I saw it. The accursed knife. I couldn't just pull it out. You would only increase the amount of blood and you couldn't finish what you started. Even so, the blood was just pouring out. I didn't know who might stumble in, so I was wiping it up. I was worrying so much about the floor, I didn't realize my mistake. Detective Gumshoes. Bloody handprint. I used to be known as the crime computer, but everyone has to start somewhere, I guess. I was too nervous. I had no business doing any of it. Then you put the body in my car. I'm sorry, we couldn't think of any other way to move the body. We brought the trunk, but what's the big deal? You pull down a lot more than us detectives. Ugh. What does this have to do with anything? You're horrible. How could you get Miss Sky involved in all this? Well, she had as much to lose as I did if the truth came out. So you took the evidence from Detective Goodman's locker. I feel bad for having to do it. I couldn't sit around and pick and choose what to take. Well, you left a jar fragment in gloves. Yeah. Looks like I was better off being an investigator of crimes than a committer. They all did their best to get in my way. I've got to hand it to them. They do their jobs well, much to my dismay. Fake evidence doesn't hold up very well upon close examination. You must have known that. Tell me, Worthy, what are you doing in our court? Me? You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me, we're the same. One day, you'll understand. If you want to take them on alone, you'll figure out what's needed. Money and power. Well, looks like it's time to say goodbye. Oh, Edgey. What? Looks like we'll have to cancel that lunch date. Sorry, old friend. I'm sorry too, Demongaunt. I knew you as you used to be, long ago. You were once a fine investigator, and an example to others on the force. I'm sorry to learn that you are no longer that person. Those days are long gone now, Edgey. Thanks for all the memories, though. Don't worry, you'll be fine. Now you have Wright out here. And Worthy. With those two around, you can't go wrong. You see, if I listen carefully, I can hear it right now. The sound of a new beginning. There are two things I want you to understand. Yes? First, your sister never hurt anyone. Second, Demongaunt betrayed you from the beginning. You see, Miss Sky, you no longer have any reason to keep silent. You're right. When this trial is over, I'll tell everything. All that I've done these past 2 years. From the time I had gone helped me to forge evidence up until today. So, it seems all the questions raised in this trial have been answered. I'm sorry, Miss Sky. I couldn't get you out of all your trouble. My. What high standards you have for a rookie. I can see why Mia thought so highly of you. Who knows? A few years from now, you just might make it to the top. How are you, my thanks, Mr. Wright? The Sky. And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. Believe me, I know how much of an ordeal it's been for you. Huh, it was nothing. Liar. I was worried the pressure might break you, and yet, you rose above it all and guided Mr. Wright to victory. You've done well, Edgeworth. Stop it. I only did my job. No praise. I can't handle praise. Punish me. In light of this case, it seems a good self-examining is in order for all of us. Miss Sky. Yes, Your Honor. You are innocent of murder. However, although the chief blackmailed you, the fact is you still acted as his accomplice. A trial will be scheduled for these crimes at a later date. Yes, I understand, Your Honor. Is there something amusing about all this? Why are you smiling? It's been a long time, Your Honor. A long time since I felt free of all those heavy chains. Well, this trial has gone on far too long already. Regarding the charge of murder, this court finds the defendant, Miss Lana Skye, not guilty. Oh my god, that was so intense. I made it. That is all. The court is adjourned. Oh my god, that was so intense. Whew. February 25th, 5:03 p.m. District Court, Defendant's Levy number 2. I need a drink of water. At long last, it's finally over. Emma? Why the long face? I'm sorry your sister didn't get it completely off the hook. But at least she wasn't convicted for a murder she didn't commit. No, that's not it. Just now, after the trial ended, I can see why Mia Fey thought so highly of you. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. You've done well. You know, I did my best too, but Lana didn't say a word to me. Hope I'm not interrupting anything. God damn it, Gumshoe. Again? Every time, buddy. You got terrible timing. Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later. And call him back. Ah, Detective Gumshoe. What is it? You're doing this on purpose, aren't you? Making a detective run around all while on duty? On top of it, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. How many times are you gonna say that line, Gumshoe? Hey, lighten up, pals. I'm only kidding. Oh. Are you here because of my sister again? Nope. Not this time. I came today because of you, pal. Me? That's right. I thought you'd like to see someone. Lana? Should you be doing this? She's still under arrest, you know. Well, I won't tell you if I... Well, I won't tell if you won't. I won't tell if you won't. Emma, I owe you an apology. It's okay, sis. Don't worry about it. That day, 2 years ago, was the first time in my life I ever panicked. It was all I could do to keep myself from screaming. All I could think about was keeping you from getting wrapped up in that mess. Sis, I asked God to help me cover up the truth. I thought I was doing it for your sake, but now I realize I was wrong. I changed after that day. I had to. It was the only way I could make it through the past 2 years. I knew how much I was hurting you by distancing myself, but I couldn't bring myself to tell you what I did. I was scared. Scared that you'd look at me with those eyes of yours. I was scared of how you'd react when you knew. But, sis, you were only doing it for me. No. Huh? I turned my back on you that day. In hiding what I believed to be the truth, I was deceiving you. Sis, I'm such a fool. It took me all this time to realize it. Emma, I'm so sorry. But, sis, you don't have to apologize. I'm happy now. You're happy? Of course. You know, sis. I always knew that one day you'd come back. And now you have. Oh, Emma. No one can change the past. The only thing we can do is strive to make up for our mistakes. Why must we make up for our mistakes, you ask? Because, in so doing, we can find a way back to our path. And once we found our path, we can move on from our past mistakes towards a brighter future. At least, that's what I felt looking at those two sisters make up. Mr. Wright, Mr. Gumshoe. Me. Thank you both for all that you've done. I'm sure we'll meet again, someday. Isn't that right, Edgeworth? Edgeworth? Stop hiding over and come over here. Edgeworth just got... Oh, he's so angry. Where was he hiding? Behind the couch, I'm guessing. He was just like hiding behind the under the couch. I just came to say, congratulations. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. Right. Well, I'll be going now. Mr. Edgeworth, I hope you don't blame yourself for what happened. We were the ones who acted corruptly, not you. It's too late for me. No matter what anyone may say, I realize today that I can't change my own mistakes. Mr. Edgeworth. Not only that, but I don't even trust myself anymore. Chief Gaunt was right. You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me. We're the same. One day, you'll understand. If you want to take them on alone, you'll figure out what's needed. I do despise criminals. I plan to dedicate my entire life to fighting them. But in order to fight crime alone, one needs a weapon. It's scary, but I've been thinking about the same thing for quite some time now. But Edgeworth, who knows? Given enough time, I might have tried to pull something like Chief Gaunt did. That thought terrifies me. That's why I can't continue on as a prosecutor. Edgeworth, don't you understand? Demand Gaunt and your mentor, Manfred von Karma. We're both best of the best when it came to fighting crime, but they both made the same mistake. You said in order to fight crime alone, one needs a weapon. That may be right, but think back to today's trial. You weren't alone. You were working together with Mr. Wright. And because of that partnership, you were able to present evidence that otherwise would have gone undiscovered. Isn't that right, Mr. Wright? Huh? What? Oh, yeah. What is this, a pop quiz? Come on, Mr. Wright, show him what Lana's talking about. Evidence? That neither Edgeworth nor I would have been able to find on our own? Oh boy, which one? Maybe it was the... Oh, it was the evidence list. Yeah, because we had to connect them both. Yeah, I'll go with the evidence list. That's the picture I drew. Our counterattack began with this. You had one half of the evidence list and I had the other. Apart, we wouldn't have been able to complete and restore Emma's picture. That didn't just happen by chance, Edgeworth. It's time for me to go. Mr. Edgeworth, if you'll excuse me, there are still some loose ends that need wrapping up. Take care, Chief Prosecutor. Edgeworth, what will you do now? Well, whatever you do, just remember, what happened in this trial can either make or break you as a prosecutor. In the end, it's up to you. I know, it seems I owe you my thanks too, right? But what I face now is my problem. Edgeworth, I'll be waiting for you in court. Farewell. I'd better be getting back too. Okay, I'll come visit you. It seems we'll both still have a lot to learn. Here, this is a little something for you. Scientific investigation. It's the first book I ever bought. Study it well. Thanks, sis. I will. And so, another case came to a close. As for the sisters, I have faith. Faith that their lives have only just begun. And as for me, I think it's time I started on a new journey of my own. A journey to rediscover myself. Well, don't go tricking off just yet, pal. What? I thought we were going to transition into the credits. Why, Gumshoe? What is it, detective? There's just a little matter to be resolved about the chief prosecutor. You see, she isn't supposed to be out of jail like this. But I thought you just said it was okay. Yeah, well, it may be okay with me, but the folks at prison are a different story. Huh? Basically, I had to bribe a guard in order to sneak her in or out for 30 minutes. Believe me, it wasn't cheap either. Huh? Way to go, detective. I didn't know you had a wild side. Yeah, well, you see, Mr. Wright here's the one who will be footing the bill. No. Huh? What, you think I can afford that with my salary? You gotta be kidding me, pal. Huh? Thank you, Mr. Wright, you're the best. Why is it? I suddenly feel like I want to scream. Since we're all here, why don't we all go together? Yeah, that's a great idea. Come on, guys. Let's go. Wait, there's an objection? Oh, do I have to yell objection? Okay, I actually got it right. Oh, yeah, I did it. I fixed it. Yes, the problem's done now. That was cool. I wasn't expecting that. I didn't know I had to press a button. Whoops, I messed it up. I have to edit these two together. No. Whatever, I arranged for a friend to take care of me in Europe. She's a coroner. I think Emma will be pleased. As for me, I think this affair has pretty much ended my days at the prosecutor's office. Still, I'll manage to find my way back to the field somehow. Then, I'll be able to investigate crimes together with Emma. Oh, I get stuck on that objection thing. It's just like, why isn't this working? And it's like, oh, wait, I have to press a button. I'm really dumb sometimes with basic things like that. Like, why won't you work? So this is the final credits, I'm guessing? Like, the actual credits. Yikes. I thought I was a gunner for a moment there. In the end, though, they overlooked my unauthorized investigation of the chief's office. If we penalized you for any more, it'd be worse than firing you. Yep, that's what they said. It just goes to show. You can't shake me off that easily. Yeah, you can't get the gum off your shoe that fast. Oh, that's kind of cool how they're doing that for the credits. Oh no, Meekins. My new mission is to guard the main entrance and take care of the Billy. Take care of Billy, sir. Can you believe it, sir? I've been demoted to a security guard, sir. My partner's keeping an eye on the entrance for me today, sir. I'll show them though, sir. Someday I'm going to make detective, sir. Yes, sir. Then I can be just like that Dick Gumshoe, sir. He wants to be like Gumshoe. Oh my god. That is adorable. Oh no, the blue badger's there. You terrifying monster. Be gone. It died. It has been defeated. There is no need to fear anymore. We have won. What is it? Can't you see I'm having a showdown with my steak lunch partner? Miss Star managed to sneak this into me. She's seeing one of those gods, it seems. Oh, cowboy. Looks like you did it. Even getting Bambina back her smile. You make sure Billy and the gang get their water. Well, I think Meekins is in charge of that, so it's probably dead already. Looks like we won't be seeing each other for a while. As a farewell gift, I put a new meal on the menu. The Bright Way lunch. Top layer tastes as bitter as defeat, but the bottom layer is as sweet as victory. Kids seem to dig the turnabout theme. It's a hot seller around this exam time. Let's make sure not to eat it backwards. I'll never forget what that young defense lawyer said after the trial. Let's see, what was his name again? Mr. Left? Anyway, he said he'd be doing some other something or other for how many years? Well, anyway, I've got another trial to get to, so I better be Huh? Oh no, I forgot my gavel. Sorry, gotta go. Oh, so that's what's behind him. We find out the secret. The bird was actually the judge, or what was behind? That looked like an eagle behind him or something. That was the actual judge all the time. It's only a puppet in front, a bearded puppet. Ah, nothing soothes the soul like a fresh country air. Well, it's good to see you again. Still, sometimes I do miss hearing Nick and his objections. Still, I can't go back until I'm full-fledged spirit medium. Maya, afternoon, training's about to begin. Coming. Well, see you around, Nick. Let's talk about lunchboxes. That's gonna be hungry. I need to go get food after this. Mr. Edgeworth. Oh, Mr. Edgeworth. How about your tea? What's going on? Oh, did he put in his resignation? Oh. Or what? I don't know what he's doing. Thanks for coming to see me off. I can't believe I'm going to Europe. Thank you, Mr. Wright. Thank you so much for everything. I'm a little sad, but I'll be alright. Whenever I want to see Lana, all I have to do is open this book. Alright, let's open it, I guess. I gotta, like, go to the side to open it? Oh. Oh, right, no, right there, right there. Examine. Oh, there's a note in there. Okay. Oh. That's adorable.